Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Lee, aka Rollin Thunder, and in today's video we are testing out a new map on the old 1098. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of tea and let us get into the video. So ladies and gentlemen, how are we all doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope this current heat wave we're experiencing in the UK is keeping you guys nice and buoyed and happy. I myself am a little bit hesitant today. Reason being is that I am now attempting to use a new map on my 1098, which was installed with the help of a good friend in America called Devin. So this is the first day of riding with a new map, and I'll explain a little bit as to why I went with a new map. And that is because, oh fucking hell, I found that on a lot of the forums people were telling me that a new map on the bike would actually help the stalling issue. So what I did was I went through Tune ECU and I found the appropriate map for my bike with the appropriate exhausts as well. So the stock map that was on my ECU is now gone and has been replaced with one that is apparently correct for these exhausts. And when we were installing the map yesterday, me and Devin spent about maybe an hour and a half on the phone. Obviously we weren't on the phone as it were, so we weren't actually ringing each other. We were talking via Facebook Messenger, which, as you can imagine, talking to someone in California actually as a telephone call would be rather expensive on both sides of the Atlantic. So naturally, using the power of the Tinternet made things a hell of a lot easier for us. So we literally spent, like I say, an hour and a half or so on the phone going through the basics of Tune ECU, because I'd never used it properly before, whereas Devin knows the ins and outs of it a lot better than I do. So we went through the basics of doing all the diagnostic stuff, like checking the coils and checking the injectors and stuff like that, and all that came out fine. We then went through the unenviable task of getting Tune ECU to read the current map on the ECU, which it did quite easily, surprisingly. So we did that. We then went on to finding the appropriate map for the exhaust that are currently on this bike, which are the Termignoni slip-ons. We did a bit of research into different maps, made sure it was the right one, and again that took a little bit of time, but I think it was worth it, because already, like I said, I've only been riding, sorry, I haven't even said really, have I? I said to Devin last night that I would take the bike out at some point and give him a lowdown as to whether it's worked or not, and this is that test. Shattering of the rear wheel, that's never good. But one thing I've noticed already with this new Flash, she picks up a lot quicker. I don't mean wheelies or anything like that, I mean just the general torque of it feels a bit more linear, a bit more improved. Devin did say to me that I would find that the new map may give the bike a little bit more power, not massive amounts, like not a huge amount to write home about, but enough to be a bit more entertaining, shall we say. And so far he's not wrong. The throttle response is smoothed out slightly. The power delivery feels a bit more engaging, and even pulling away from the lights just then feels better. And Devin, if you ever watch this video, I mean both the guys that I know in America, Devin and Justin, both of you guys, if you ever watch these videos, you know, both of you guys, thank you for all the help and all the advice that you guys have given me all the way over in the other side of the pond, as they say. But yeah, I so far this new map seems to be doing the job and working a treat. I mean, normally the bike would be coughing and spluttering right about now, because like I said, I'm using very low RPM at the minute, and normally when I'm using very low RPM, I mean, like for example now I'm sitting at 3,500 RPM, and normally the bike could be going but it's not. So I think that new map may have worked. I think it's too early to tell really, but initial assessment, I think the map has worked. and she hasn't stalled yet, because normally when she gets to about, you know, 80 to 100 degrees Celsius, that is, not Fahrenheit, normally I would start experiencing some sort of coughing and spluttering or some sort of stalling, but nothing so far. She hasn't even so much as dropped any revs, because usually when I know she's going to stall, every so often she would drop a few revs and then she'd just cough, splutter, and then obviously die, like you've seen before. But we're sitting at 85 degrees and she's not stalled on me yet, so fingers crossed it stays that way. And if that's all it took was to make the bike run properly, was just a fucking ECU Flash, then I don't know why I didn't do this before. But you know, you live and learn, I guess. I mean, I've had the bike for 4 years and it's the first time I've actually ever had it reflashed. See, even doing that, normally she'd sort of like almost drop a couple of revs, but no, not a thing. Bridge. And I don't know why, but the power just feels a lot smoother. That might just be like the placebo effect, where something's changed but it really hasn't, or it's changed but it's not changed to the point where it's a noticeable change. I don't know, that might just be me. I might just be, you know, seeing things and feeling things that aren't really there. I'm hoping it has made some kind of difference. Obviously I'll let you guys know as we go, but so far so good. The true test is going to be when I get into tooting, which I will be doing in a moment, because once I'm in tooting, it's a lot of stop-start traffic, so that will be the true test as to whether or not the actual tune has worked. I'm hoping it has, I'll be completely honest, because like I said, like I've already said, it took me and Devin the best part of an hour and a half last night to do the tune, and I'll be honest, so far, apart from that one little incident where I banged it down from second to first a bit too aggressively and she started bouncing all over the place, no issues. She hasn't stalled yet. Like I said, early days, but she hasn't stalled. I mean, normally I'm at 2,500 RPM and normally she'd be surging and going but nothing. I'm doing 21 mile an hour at 3,000 RPM and the tune seems to have worked. Like I said, the true test is going to be once the bike starts getting over 100 degrees as to whether or not she stalls or not. But so far, like I've already said, so far I can't complain. She does feel like she's got a bit more torque about her, not necessarily more power, but she feels like she's wanting to go more, if that makes any sense whatsoever. You know, when a bike just wants to go, it doesn't want to be ridden slow. It's like, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. I mean, let's face it, this bike is a thoroughbred race machine, so doing 20 mile an hour at 3,000 RPM isn't exactly what it's made for, do you know what I mean? But I'll be honest, so far, I keep saying so far, but that's the only way I can put it. So far, the tune has worked a absolute fucking treat. She feels like she's got a bit more grunt about her. The fueling feels a bit more, well, a bit better, I suppose. Not by a lot, but a little bit. Dickhead. But still, dickheads aside, I think we have found a winner in terms of the actual Flash. It just seems like she actually wants to... What the fuck's going on here? Alright then, what's this? Musical chairs? But literally, the idle is so smooth now. Or at least it feels like it's smooth. Like I said, it's early days, but the tune just feels like it's worked. Do you know what I mean? It just feels like it's done its job. Unlike this geezer who's driving a VW Polo with a fucking baked bean tin for an exhaust. Oh, what a joke. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, so far this new tune, it seems to work. And I know I keep saying it, but it is early days. The tune was only put on the bike about 12 hours ago. And this is the first time of me actually being able to go out and test the tune. And like I've already said, so far, so good. Do The real test is going to be when I'm able to actually get her opened up along that little stretch of the A3 that I go past, or go down even, sorry, because that is where the true test is going to come, as to whether or not this old girl still feels as strong as she did before, or whether she's lost her bit of her aggression. I don't think she would have done, because I don't think Devin would have advised me to put a tune on a bike that was going to make it any worse than what it already was. Because like I said, we spent the best part of an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours on the phone trying to get this tune correct. See, even that feels like it's a different bike altogether. The surge of torque that I'm now getting, rather than being very laboured, the torque hit is almost instant now. It's like normally I'd be waiting for it to come on, but literally it's like, and it's there. There's no waiting whatsoever. Absolutely no hesitation. I mean, I still love the fact that she pops and bangs and stuff like that. I love that. It's one of the characteristics of this bike that I've always loved. And the throttle just feels lighter as well. It just, everything just feels smoother. I mean, look at this. And that's barely half throttle. That's maybe about just under half throttle, I would say. And she feels fucking epic. And I can't stress this enough. This is early days. It's the first time of me riding with this tune on the bike. So I need to make sure that it is what I want it to be. Because if it isn't, then it's back to the drawing board and I have to put the original map back on. I don't want to have to do that, but this just feels like it smoothed everything out a little bit more. I mean, 17 mile an hour and I'm doing 2,500 RPM. Okay, it is a little bit juddery, but what do you expect? It's a twin. But the actual performance of the tune seems to be working rather well. I do love the fact that she pops and bangs and farts every now and then. I love it. I've always loved the that she does, especially when coming down from high RPM. I loves it. Now this is where things are going to start getting interesting. I'm sitting at 99 degrees and there's not been a single cough or hiccup. Well, not yet anyway. Just gotta hope it stays that way. And if it does, then yay. Between Devin and myself, we have found the perfect map for these exhausts. If it doesn't work, then shit. We'll have to start looking at other tune options, or possibly just having a look at on a dyno. But one way or another, we will get the desired results that we're after, ladies and gentlemen. We will. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it may be the placebo effect, but she just feels smoother. Apart from that one incident, like I've already mentioned, where I did get a bit, you know, overly excitable, and I did dump it from second to first, and the back end started bouncing around all over the place. But other than that, no issues. You know, she hasn't stalled yet. I mean, if she was going to stall, she would do it now, because usually between, like I've always said before, between 90 and 100 degrees, or 85 and 100 degrees roughly, at this point she would potentially cough, splutter, and maybe stall like that. But that's the only one slight hiccup I've had so far, and now she's stalled. Yay. And I was thinking it was going so well, but either way, one stall in the space of half hour, you know, that's pretty much normal for me. Well, one stall out of the entire journey isn't too bad, I suppose. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you enjoyed it to a degree. If you've got any questions, please make sure to leave them in the comments box down below, and I'll do my best to get around to answering them as best as I can. But for now, this is me, Lee, aka Rollin Thunder, saying look after yourselves, look after each other, stay safe on the roads, be careful of COVID-19, and as always, adios!